Welcome back to Boy Party, the podcast that tackles cinema's most legendary team-ups, films where two or more major stars shared the screen and battled it out for screen time, top billing, the fatter paycheck, and the most acclaim. I'm Lucian. I'm joined this week by Shane to discuss 2013's The Lone Ranger. Welcome to Boy Party, everybody, the podcast where we discuss movies that gave audiences two for the price of one on Legends of the Silver Screen. This movie is certainly deals with the idea of legends. The Legend of the Lone Ranger, in fact. 2013 movie directed by Gore Verbinski, starring Johnny Depp and Armie Hammer. Mm-hmm. Welcome back, Shane, to the show.
Good afternoon.
You're familiar with the Lone Ranger IP prior to this film?
No, but sure, it's one of those things that doesn't take much knowledge of.
It's sort of like
you can kind of pick it up from looking at one image relating to the IP.
It's sort of it's like a Robin Hood type IP. Sure. King Arthur and Robin Hood. I feel like the Lone Ranger probably is more contemporary than that in American culture. I don't think it's like an old folk tale. I think it's like a American TV show.
It wasn't originally like a book or a play. It was just its first iteration was a TV show.
I think so. Yeah. Could be wrong, but to me, it is the American version of Robin Hood, I guess. And
kind of proportional to the fact that America's existed for like less than 300 years.
Exactly. There's less ancient stories set in America. It feels to me like, the Wild West is America's equivalent of British medieval stuff.
It's funny America just has like no castles.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's wild. Yeah. And they come here and they think it's really interesting and we just take castles for granted.
Yeah.
Every country in Europe has castles pretty much. Yeah. Like Russia has castles, Italy has castles.
I don't think America has castles. Why would they?
I can't think of anywhere in America where there would be a castle. Yeah. Castles are based on monarchy, and feudal systems that America's never had. America was
religious stuff.
America is a secular capitalist country that is a mixed bag of.
And the Native Americans didn't build
they weren't
castles
castle
as far as I'm aware.
Yes.
Interesting.
Speaking of Native Americans, this film features one of the most beautiful, sensitive performances from a Native American actor, Mr. Johnny Depp.
Jonathan Depp.
Will we do our disclaimer section of the episode?
We kind of have to.
We're doing that.
There's a big pink elephant in the room.
Pink elephant in the room, and he's farting everywhere. This is our most cursed episode we'll ever do of Boy Party, I'd say. It's rare to have a Boy Party featuring not one but two terrible, horrible people who have done terrible, horrible things. We'd struggle to find others. Like, I feel like Kevin Spacey didn't work with many terrible, horrible actors. Like,
Baby Driver, I guess.
Baby Driver, I guess, yeah.
That's not really a Boy Party
if you go into Glengarry, you have him and Baldwin, which is cursed. It's not. I don't by any means want to conflate Alec Baldwin with Kevin Spacey's behavior, but there's a bit of an awkward vibe there.
Yeah,
a few cases like that, but I do think The Lone Ranger really just the film. The fact that this film is so forgotten and not beloved. Plus the fact that it comes at the tail end of Johnny Depp's string of success for 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And now the other guy in it is also condemned to the chopping block of Hollywood is really interesting. But anyway, it's safe to say,
this is not a celebration.
This is not a celebration of these men. Boy Party does not approve of either of these men's behavior. I think they both seem like pretty horrible people who have done horrible things, and I don't want to heap too much praise on them as individuals. However, both actors that I've enjoyed a lot over the years, and have given some fantastic performances. In this film, maybe not so fantastic, but there's stuff to like.
I think this is kind of doomed from the outset, just given the scale and the idea and where the director wants to go with this.
Yeah,
not in a bad way.
Not in a bad way. It is one of these ambitious sort of 2010s blockbusters that comes right before the foot is put down on anything that's non-superhero.
Yeah.
Like, there is a moment where they're still willing to pay for shit like this, and I guess this is set in the real world. Like, there's no fantasy elements to it, which is interesting, because even Pirates of the Caribbean has fantasy elements.
There's kind of fantasy elements to this.
Are there?
I mean,
a tiny bit?
Like, in theory, this could have...
The stakes of this are very grounded.
Sure.
Trains and highway robbery and building rail lines and stuff. There's no ghosts, witches, wizards, superpowers. The stuff that's in Pirates of the Caribbean, people turning into 1,000 crabs, the afterlife,
even the kind of weirder stuff in this, like the carnival and stuff, they were real things.
They were real things, yeah. It's very unusual to have a big family blockbuster film made by the Disney company, especially, that is this grounded in the real world and no science fiction fantasy ideas whatsoever. And it's a disastrous idea. Why would anyone want to see that?
Yeah.
It's just completely out of line with what was commercially viable in 2013.
This was obviously trying to build off the Pirates' success. Yeah. And it was, I'm sure in the meeting rooms, this was pitched as,
yes,
oh, what if we do Pirates, but it's cowboys and Indians?
Exactly. Like, you've got Johnny Depp in a goofy, funny outfit. He's giving a cartoonish performance, but I would argue not cartoonish
more black
enough.
And white, silent film performance.
Yeah, like, he's very silent in this film. And it's honestly, like, not a good use of his skill set. Like, Johnny Depp's skill set is being extremely OTT and brash. Willy Wonka, Jack Sparrow, the Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland, Edward Scissorhands. These are all characters that are, like, gurning and, you know, spitting and fucking just completely filling the screen.
Yeah.
And this character is, like, almost by design taking a sort of a quieter and more subtle role. But then Armie Hammer is also not a big enough performer to take over the screen. And then the scenes that they're in together end up being like kind of boring because neither of them is big enough.
I guess
like the oxygen in the room is just like not being utilized because Armie Hammer is kind of muttering.
Like that's being filled in by these enormous sets and set pieces.
Yes, yeah. Oh, the stuff surrounding them is what's filling the space. Like,
this is not a... The scale of this and like the ambition of like how it looks and what they want to show fills in the gaps for the most part.
Yeah. It does, but there's just like
there's no.
It needs a movie star more willing to like take over the movie with two hands.
I
than Johnny
can't
Depp.
for the life of me tell you the plot of this film.
No, basically,
this was a film we watched, and every couple of minutes I'd look up and go, "Ooh, that looks fun."
Yeah, and we watched it over like 3 nights. It's a hard one to get through. It is inexplicably 150 minutes long, which is just such a mistake. Would this film be better if Johnny Depp played the Lone Ranger? That just doesn't make sense as casting, I guess.
Because you need someone kind of more eccentric than him to play the other character. Then.
Exactly.
Like who would you?
Who's more eccentric than Johnny Depp? Like almost nobody. But Johnny Depp's just not eccentric enough in this film.
Unless you get like a really boring person doing like a kind of
silent film performance. Who's the most famous person that could have played the Lone Ranger and been good? That has like Zac Efron.
I don't know. Would you get like an Andy Serkis type or something
to play the Lone Ranger or to play Tonto? To play Tonto.
Tonto.
Yeah, sure, maybe. And Andy Serkis is probably a less subtle actor than Johnny Depp.
Sure.
But to play the Lone Ranger, would you get like Zac Efron or would you go Matt Damon?
Like Armie Hammer is a decent face for this.
He's a decent face, but I feel like his energy is too internal. I don't think he's an expressive enough actor to be in an old-timey cowboy.
Yeah, I think we had a discussion on this when we were watching
like a comic strip. Like
there seems to be a lack of men at this period who were 35 and like had an old Hollywood vibe to them.
Yeah. Like, God, would you put Dominic Sessa in this? I'm trying to... No, he's two 70s. You need someone with
and this is a man who's like a law enforcement officer. He's got to be...
Yeah.
Like Armie Hammer is 6'2", 225 and there's one of them.
There's one of them, yeah. It's he's right for the role in theory, in his face belongs on the poster. I just don't know if his vibes belong in this particular film.
Like, is Brad Pitt too old at this stage?
Brad Pitt's too old. He would have been great in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Damon would have been great at maybe a slightly earlier point. I think Zac Efron would be pretty good.
Sure.
I'm trying to think of anyone else. Anyone who's not white that would be good. Like, are there black actors that would be good in this role? Like, would fucking Chadwick Boseman have been good in this or something? I don't know. Maybe the Lone Ranger.
Even like a Chris Evans type.
Chris Evans. Okay. So Chris Evans is...
Or Chris Pine.
Chris Evans and Chris Pine are the obvious, boring, correct
white,
answers. Yeah. Like, those are the correct answers. You're right. Chris Pine is the answer.
Sure.
Chris Pine, ultimately, I think, has probably actually had his career boosted by Armie Hammer becoming persona non grata. I think that Chris Pine gets more work than he would have if Armie Hammer had continued his...
They'd have been in similar roles.
Yeah. If Armie Hammer was still getting work, I think that Chris Pine wouldn't necessarily be in stuff like Dungeons and Dragons. I think that might be an Armie Hammer part.
Yeah.
It's hard to know. But Chris Pine is very well liked as well.
Yeah.
So the plot of the film is that basically Tom Wilkinson is Latham Cole, a railroad tycoon, and he's building a railroad. And
good, we love infrastructure building here.
Tonto, played by Johnny Depp, is on a vengeance mission to bring justice to those who massacred his tribe when he was a child. News to me, I wasn't aware of this. He has a dead crow on his head. Johnny Depp based the design of the character on a painting, I Am Crow, by Kirby Sattler. And there's flashbacks to Tonto as a child and his family being massacred. I didn't notice
that was
those.
there.
And the Lone Ranger is John Reed, who's a lawyer.
Let's not talk about how little we watched the film.
He's a lawyer who gets deputized as a Texas Ranger and wears the Lone Ranger mask and the outfit and helps. His brother gets killed as well, and he's on a vengeance mission for his brother.
Yes.
So there's two parallel vengeance missions going on here.
Yeah.
William Fichtner plays a scary guy called Butch Cavendish, and Ruth Wilson is in the film as well. Dame Helena Bonham Carter is in the film for, I would say, 90 seconds, 80 seconds.
Yeah, she appears for a minute at the beginning, in like the first scene.
And then she's in it for a minute later where she has a machine gun leg or something, right? Does her leg have a gun in it?
Maybe.
I think so. And she's a brothel owner, and she's awful.
She's the third person on the poster and appears in this film for like 2 minutes total.
There's a poster where her face is as big as the other two guys. The poster we're going to discuss is a different poster. So I'm gonna talk about this one, which is the main one that I remember from when the movie came out. You're in a position now where you cannot see the poster.
I thought you were going to spin it around.
This is a awful poster. Really bad. It's just a still. Like
it is.
This is the poster with Depp and Hammer walking away from a gray cloud of explosion. It is so boring.
Like
there's no color whatsoever.
If you put your hand over the faces of the characters, this could be just like a Hurt Locker poster.
Yeah, it could be the Hurt Locker. It looks like the Hurt Locker. It is so lacking in color. It is a gray and beige poster.
Like this should have been orangey western,
red and crazy reds and
big blue skies
big blue skies. Why would you market this film as gray? It came out on 4th of July weekend in a big summer Disney movie. It doesn't say anywhere on the poster from the director of Pirates of the Caribbean, which it should. Yeah. Like, they just have no idea how to market this film.
It's not pitched as a big family American history
it
epic,
looks like a boring Western. It looks like fucking Hacksaw Ridge or, it looks like a war movie.
Yeah.
God, idiots. It's written by Justin Hayth, who was the writer of Revolutionary Road. I don't know why he was involved in writing this, but he got BAFTA nomination, and then it was basically rewritten, I think, by Terry and Ted, the boys who wrote the Pirates movies and Shrek and Aladdin. Very wealthy men, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at their full filmography. These guys. Okay, so Terry Rossio, who I believe is a major anti-vaxxer. Yeah, he is. He said that calling someone anti-vax was the same as calling them the N-word. His credits as a writer include Little Monsters, Aladdin, Mask of Zorro, Godzilla 1998, Shrek, Treasure Planet, Pirates, National Treasure Book of Secrets, story credit, G-Force, Pirates, The Lone Ranger, Aladdin Remake, Godzilla v. Kong, The New Empire. Wealthy man.
Yeah.
Wealthy man. Some good films in there and some bad films in there.
He seems like the right person to do this kind of film.
Exactly. The score was meant to be done by Jack White.
Yeah.
And then he didn't want to do it, and Hans Zimmer came in and did a pretty generic score.
Jack White's another one of these questionable characters. Or is he?
I don't know anything about him. Is he a questionable character?
I don't know.
He could be. He's got weird vibes.
A little bit.
He, of course, stars in one of the best films of the last year, Killers of the Flower Moon, which he's in for 5 seconds.
Is he?
Remember him? He's the fucking announcer at the end.
Oh, yeah.
He's in the final
scene.
It
is Jack White.
Yeah, of course. Very random. I think Hans Zimmer's score for this is boring.
One of his interns got a good opportunity.
Yeah, very boring.
What is it? They redo. It's not like The Entertainer or something. It's one of those.
It's the William Tell overture, which is the Lone Ranger music, I think, in the original show.
Oh, is it? Is that where it comes from?
And they built that into the score, but it's kind of boring. So the film was in development for years. Weinstein was trying to do it. Various people were trying to do it. Then Jerry Bruckheimer and Disney eventually. This film is definitely involved in the breakdown of Jerry Bruckheimer and Disney's relationship, which is very unfortunate because this
is a relationship killer.
This is a relationship killer. This came a year after John Carter, and I think was a real red warning sign for Disney of, oh God, we've got to reassess what we're doing here, which is a pity. It's bad for film goers, because now we don't get anything good from Disney anymore. They don't invest money in
they've no risk taking at all.
No risk taking, big ambitious films not being made anymore. The last one that killed it was Tomorrowland, the Brad Bird movie in 2015. That was the last time they ever spent $150 million on an original. Well, this isn't original, but on a weird, not entirely obvious
kind of new world building.
Yeah, now it is all Star Wars, Marvel, animation, and random low budget shit. There's no like fucking spending $200 million on something.
They've
weird.
No sense of trying to create new rides for Disneyland. Like.
Exactly. Yeah. This was a $225 to $250 million budget. It went way over budget. I don't understand how this could have cost so much when it has like minimal CGI. But then you realize that building sets is like more expensive than CGI a lot of the time.
There are a lot of good sets.
They built so many sets, and like there were so many problems with production. Somebody died on the set, a crew guy when he was building a water tank, and there was like fucking constant illness. And
truly a cursed film.
They had to train everyone with horseback riding, gunslinging, lassoing, chicken box outbreak, weather, wildfires, all sorts of crazy shit. And the guy who died, his name was Michael Andrew Bridger. Okay. Just incredibly expensive, over budget nonsense, and like it's not worth the effort.
I bet this was like the fucking Babylon desert scene being shot.
Yes, exactly. Like, yeah, man, imagine all of that with the ego of someone like Johnny Depp on that set,
and like you're probably there just looking at your watch every morning, wondering if he's going to show up to set.
Yeah,
like.
Well, he's drinking he can't stop drinking wine and hitting women. Like it's just the ultimate nightmare. Like so
I know, good film for him to be kind of drunk. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's
in terms of having him cast as a Native American character, despite the producers citing the presence of an advisor from the Comanche Nation, some debated the advisability of casting Depp as a Native American. Depp has stated he believes he has Native American ancestry, possibly from a great-grandmother. Elizabeth Warren over here. He says that he has considered the role a personal attempt to right the wrongs of the past. It's not... I think in terms of like he wanted a sensitive, respectful portrayal of a Native American.
Sure.
I would argue this is not it's not a terrible stereotype, but it's not great either. He shouldn't be playing this character. Like I really don't think he should be playing this character. I think this should not be a white actor. But it's doing a thing where it's conflating like Native Americans with pirates, as in these were kind of not a real thing, right? Yeah, it's having him in the role turns this Native American character into a kind of a cartoon, ridiculous thing, even if the performance isn't particularly exaggerated. But I think there's an
implication there that there's an implication that this isn't like
a thing to be taken seriously. Yeah, like we're casting the clown as this, you know.
Yeah,
Andy Serkis would have done the exact same thing. So
sure,
this is the issue. Like, it gets too. Sorry, Todd McDaniels, a linguist of the Comanche Nation, commended on Depp's attempts to speak the Comanche language. He said, the words were there, the pronunciation was shaky, but adequate. So I guess we got to just do a little Johnny Depp retrospective here.
I guess so.
Because his
career is kind of dead now, isn't it?
His career is kind of dead now. Like,
outside of France.
I'm interested in if his career would be dead if he had never done anything bad and was a nice, normal guy. Because his films were getting less popular before he started to behave badly.
Sure, but I feel like the films suffered because of his behavior.
Yeah, but like, would he be... Well, sure, but like, you know, there's nothing to do with his behavior that caused Alice in Wonderland 2 to do so much worse than Alice in Wonderland 1, you know? That stuff is just that people lost interest in his types of movies. They got interested in superhero movies.
But by being an asshole, you're limiting the range of work you can get.
This is true.
Like, the better directors might have been more happy to work with him if he wasn't an insurance liability and he wasn't just a terrible person.
True. I think the issue with him is that, you know, he's a star who, like... What we've learned in the last few years is that there's very few movie stars left, and most stars now are just superheroes. The only real remaining stars are people like Cruise and Denzel Washington and Tom Hanks.
They're all kind of in their 50s and 60s now.
Yeah, they're like they're guys a little bit older than him. But
they were big in the 90s. Like.
Yeah, but also they're guys who can make movies for adults.
Yeah.
And his problem is that he was kind of a kid star.
A little bit.
And like the only kid star that has remained a kid star since the 2000s and still is one is Jack Black. And that's because he is
Will Smith the kid star? Or is he kind of...
No, not really. Will Smith hasn't made a movie for kids now since Aladdin. I guess Will Smith is kind of a kid star.
Yeah.
Sure. Will Smith is probably the next closest thing to Johnny Depp. He's a person who's never done anything weird or violent whatsoever. No. Nothing at all. But like Johnny Depp's kind of a kid star, and kids just aren't interested in middle-aged men putting on funny makeup anymore. That's just not really
the Lone Ranger can't compete with TikTok anymore,
right?
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate.
Kids would be much better off if they watched the Lone Ranger than
So Johnny Depp's total box office. Do you want to guess? Because I'd say this will be an enormous number now.
It should be enormous.
Yeah, it should be enormous.
Okay, give me 10.5 billion.
You're thinking 10.5 billion?
Yeah,
10.8.
Okay,
well done. Less than Tom Hanks. Interesting. There's 3 billion.
The Toy Stories boost Hanks.
The Toy Stories boost Hanks and the Da Vinci Code. There's a few like that. Like Tom Hanks has a couple of random 500 millions.
Yeah.
Like Forrest Gump, Apollo 13, and fucking Castaway are probably all 400 million. Anyway, Johnny Depp, his biggest hits: Pirates 2, $1 billion. Pirates 4, $1 billion. Alice, $1 billion. Pirates 3, just under $1 billion. Pirates 5, $794. Pirates 1, $654, and then. You know, the Crimes of Grindelwald actually did pretty well. 648 million worldwide. The last blockbuster the man will ever be in. Charlie, Chocolate Factory, Orient Express. Murder in the Orient Express, you're already starting to see the stardom trail off. You're putting him as like the 8th guy in a Does he
get the and in that?
He gets the and I think he dies in the first 10
He
minutes.
does. He's the guy that gets killed.
And in Grindelwald, he is the villain. Putting him in those movies is a good use of him. In theory, except those films are shit and he's bad in them. Yeah. You know, they're shitty poo-poo and he's terrible in them. If they weren't, it would be clever because
there's also like a good Venn diagram crossover between the people who don't care about Johnny Depp and the people who like the Crimes of Grindelwald.
He's a perfect actor to put in a Harry Potter thing.
Fucking J.K. Rowling.
Because the J.K. Rowling people and the Johnny Depp people are the same people. You know, people who love to
they'll defend both.
They'll defend the same horrible people because they're morons and they care about the nostalgia of the people they liked when they were 10 more than anything else in the whole world. Like they can't develop past that point. But like The Tourist 2010, a terrible film that maybe we'll do on Boy Party someday, but it's so boring.
It's Angelina Jolie?
Him and Angelina Jolie. It's such a nothing of a film. 278 million. So like well into the 2010s he's still able to carry a big film. And to be fair, Alice Through the Looking Glass did $250 million in 2016. I'm interested here in the sense that like he actually is a big profitable star right up until Grindelwald happens, like, you know, or just before it. Like Into the Woods, he's only supporting in, but that was
is he driving the success though,
in most
or is he just lining up well with things people like?
I don't think stuff like fucking Dark Shadows and The Tourists, that's not valuable IP. Those are Johnny Depp vehicles. Like Dark Shadows making $245 million. That's a weird movie. Now Tim Burton actually at that point in time probably was still a big draw name as well. And the two of them together, I think even today, if they put a movie out together, it would probably make money from idiots.
People recognize the name Tim Burton, are like, oh, that should be something I see.
Yeah. So like the man was a very, very big star for a long time. I'm looking here. There are probably 30 films that he's in with over $100 million. Transcendence did 103 million. Like they're all hits. Like the ones that aren't hits are The Rum Diary, which is his fucking who's that stupid idiot writer that he's obsessed with? The fucking guy, the Fear and Loathing guy.
I have no idea.
He's like the stupid writer that Johnny Depp is like, you know, he fucking owns his house now and all this shit. Like he's his number one guy, Hunter S. Thompson. He's obsessed with him. Okay. And then the Libertine's not that big of a hit. I'm trying to see what else. He had a film in 2019 called The Professor that made $3 million. He had one called City of Lies in 2021 that made $2 million. Like,
are these just not getting cinema releases?
Yeah, these are independent films. Okay, these are the ones he does after Grindelwald falls apart.
Sure.
Like, but the thing now is like I just hate him. I just think he seems like a horrible man. I hate people who defend him. I hate people who talk about him positively, which is so unfortunate because I just named like 11 films that I think he's really good in. I think he's so good as Jack Sparrow. He's great in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He's good in a lot of those Tim Burton films, and like he maybe could have had a really interesting 60s and 70s. Like but now I just never want to see him in a film again because I'm so fed up of what he represents in terms of stupid people who can't move on from a movie star even when they're proven to be a terrible person. Like people who will give out about Tom Cruise being a Scientologist but defend Johnny Depp and his record of domestic violence, and you're just like, just.
Is that a person that exists?
I think that's a person who exists, who has a relationship with people who were in kids' movies they liked, and will never hear a bad word about people like Robin Williams. Like, not that there's anything bad to say about some of these people, but like Robin Williams, Johnny Depp, people that they associate with films they watched as kids, Tom Hanks, those people are untouchable.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is more of a adult movie star.
Yeah.
So you can say whatever you want about him, you know? And it's like, yeah, Tom Cruise should absolutely be criticized for things he's done. And so should Johnny Depp. Anyway, I'm inventing a person here, but I do believe they're real. Sure,
I'm not as familiar with this type of person, but I'll let you have your...
I come across a lot of Johnny Depp defenders in my day-to-day life, and they drive me insane in 100 different ways.
Yeah.
Armie Hammer, total box office, 1.5 billion. Pathetic.
I mean,
and you know, 383 million of that is from Cars 3.
Oh God,
The Lone Ranger is his second biggest movie, 260.
Social Network,
224.
Is that all that made?
Social Network is a drama. $250 million for an Aaron Sorkin drama is a phenomenal box office. What world are you living in?
I don't know. I guess it's just more omnipresent in the culture than
because people love it and they watch it on Netflix. It's not a fucking box office. Like that's a incredibly profitable film.
What did that come in for? 30?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
60 maybe. Mirror 173. Death on the Nile 130. That's post cancellation.
He kind of fell into like the Johnny Depp type of, like, he was in films Johnny Depp would be in.
The Death on the Nile and Murder in the Orient Express.
And Mirror is like a
Mirror, yeah. Fantasy crazy thing, yeah.
Weird. Was he trying to replace him, do you think?
I don't know. I don't think he's that type of actor.
No, he's not at all.
The Man from U.N.C.L.E. would be a more interesting boy party to talk about Armie Hammer in, because it's Henry Cavill, Armie Hammer.
Okay.
They're contemporaries. Henry Cavill, Lone Ranger. There we go. Now we're talking.
That's the solution.
I like Henry Cavill, and I think he's got a lot of potential in those sorts of white handsome man roles. I think that he should be...
That'd work.
That would work. I'm into that idea now. He's in J. Edgar as DiCaprio's lover. He's in, of course, 41 million for Call Me By Your Name. Which is a fucking performance for which he should have been Oscar nominated.
Yeah.
He plays RGB's husband in On the Basis of Sex 2018.
With our boy Justin Theroux.
He's lying in bed beside Amy Adams in Nocturnal Animals. Like, literally doesn't have any other scenes in that. He's in this movie Hotel Mumbai with Dev Patel about the Mumbai massacre, which I'm kind of interested to see. He's in Sorry to Bother You. He's in The Birth of a Nation 2016. He's in Free Fire with Cillian Murphy and Brie Larson. Like, he's in a good few interesting films. And now he's just not working.
Do you have Call Me By Your Name on the boy party list? Or does that qualify?
I don't think that's a boy party.
No, it's too much.
That's a film with a newcomer,
yeah,
and another guy.
Yeah,
no, not quite a boy party. Armie Hammer had never gotten an Oscar nomination. I obviously think there's only one performance for which he realistically should have.
Yeah,
I think that the problem with fucking Call Me By Your Name is that him and Michael Stuhlbarg split the vote.
Yeah,
in supporting actor, and I think that they maybe would have gotten 2 leading actor nominations if they put Armie Hammer in leading actor, although he's not really the lead of that film.
Like, screen time is probably significantly less.
I'm just wondering, is there a way you could have gotten him and Stuhlbarg Oscar nominated? Instead, we got neither, which is just so silly.
It's upsetting.
Johnny Depp, 3 Oscar nominations. Do you want to guess what they're for? I'll give you a clue. They're all in the 2000s. They're all between 2000 and 2010. Frankly, one of these is a shock to me. There's one of these I would have never guessed. Very weird.
Johnny Depp Oscar nominations.
Yeah. All for a lead actor.
Yeah. Are any of them biopics?
Yes. Do you think he'll ever win an Oscar?
No.
I think it's done now.
Yeah.
No. I think people in Hollywood are too smart to give him an Oscar. But you never
There's
know.
that, but I also think there's no sense that he has any drive to make a comeback from his kind of current state of being
in shitty French
probably
movies.
Just an alcoholic in some sense.
Yeah, but he's working, but he's working in France.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
And he's making films that no one will go to see unless they're trying to prove a point about, well, I still stand with Johnny Depp. Films that no sensible person would ever want to watch. 3 nominations.
3 nominations.
2 of them are
all of them in the 2000s.
All of them in the 2000s.
That's crazy.
So 04, 05, 08. 1 is a biopic.
Yeah.
2 are silly films, like, as in they're not Oscar films,
right?
They're commercial films.
Oh, what is one of them? Shoot, the Pirates get nominated for one.
Yep.
Yeah, he got nominated.
He's
for Pirates.
nominated for the first Pirates.
Yeah,
great nomination.
Yes,
honestly, as much as I hate to say it, one of the most correct Oscar nominations of the last 25 years.
Yeah.
That is a phenomenal performance. He is so fucking good in the first Pirates.
What is the biopic? Oh, Johnny Cash? No, he didn't play Johnny Cash.
He didn't play Johnny Cash. No.
Does he play? That's Joaquin Phoenix. Sorry.
Yeah. The same year.
Is it a musician he's playing?
No. He's playing a person you genuinely might not know the name of.
Just tell me.
He in Finding Neverland, he plays Peter Pan author J.M. Barrie.
Yeah, I didn't know.
My dad took me to see that in the cinema because it was a rare case of a PG-rated adult drama that my dad was like, "You'll watch that."
Yeah.
And we went, and we were moderately moved.
Okay.
And then I watched it again on TV a few years later. I was like, this sucks. Yeah. But it had Dustin Hoffman and Julie Christie in it. And my dad was like, it's a film for adults. My child will sit through. Yeah, like he likes Johnny Depp and it's rated PG. And it was fine. And then the third one is for a very silly film.
Animated?
No,
I wouldn't be.
No.
Sorry.
A silly film where he wears silly makeup and has a wig. Like a silly one.
Alice in Wonderland?
No, not that silly. A little bit less silly.
It's like not Wonka.
Tiny bit less silly than those two. It's like silly, but it's not for kids. It's his one crazy cartoonish performance that is in like an 18 film.
I'm gonna kick myself. Just tell me.
Sweeney Todd.
Okay.
Todd.
Sure.
Because Sweeney Todd's a silly Tim Burton film, but it is also based on a beloved Stephen Sondheim musical.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a Hugh Jackman in Les Mis type nomination. You know, interesting.
Funny films.
Do you think Hugh Jackman's ever gonna win an Oscar? We'll do him soon.
I think so.
I think he will. Yes.
I think there's like
he'll get his fucking.
Would he work with Damien Chazelle or something like?
I think he's more likely to get an Oscar for working with fucking Noah Baumbach, to be honest. Like,
okay.
Interesting guy.
He could be in a Bradley Cooper film.
I'd say he has. I don't think he has that much higher a chance than like Ben Stiller does, though.
If they're going to get it, they're going to get it through the same route. So it's a matter of
the same route. Yeah, but maybe there's more to surprise people with in Hugh Jackman's case. I don't know.
I feel like it's a big musical.
Look, he's been nominated fucking 2 or 3 times, so I'm sure he will. Anyway, well,
he's got enough years in the tank as well that he can. Hugh Jackman's someone who'll be acting when he's old and it'll be fine.
Yes, exactly. He'll be doing the fucking Robert Redford old man roles. Yeah. Like, he'll get something. Unless he gets cancelled.
He won't. He
won't.
It seems like he's one of the more.
If he comes out as gay, he's definitely winning an Oscar. He needs to beat Bradley Cooper to it. Like,
you think that's the way it's going to go?
No, but people on TikTok do.
Yeah, conspiracies.
No conspiracies about Johnny Depp or Armie Hammer, especially about Armie Hammer and what he might eat for dinner. No. Anything else to say about The Lone Ranger?
Some spectacular shots in this.
Yeah, like some of it looks amazing. The scene where Armie Hammer wakes up on the fucking
shots
side of the cliff and it just goes over his head.
Yeah, and he's just standing on a tower on the middle of like a rock formation in the middle of the Arizona or wherever this is shot.
That would be so great in IMAX.
Shots of horses from a kilometer away running through the desert will always be outstanding.
Just I love horses. I love the desert.
Lawrence of Arabia shit.
No.
It looks cool. Like, as far as spending $300 million on something, at least they got something that looks like it cost $300 million.
Yes, exactly.
I know. I wish they made more films like this.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. These things aren't far off being really good.
I know. I agree.
I admire the ambition. I admire.
I'd much rather watch this than a fucking Marvel movie any day. Like,
that's not even a question.
It's not even a question. No. Like, it's just so much more. It's aiming for much higher, and even if the failures are bigger, at least there were.
Yeah, look, I'll tune into Gore Verbinski passion projects.
Yeah, Gore Verbinski's great, and he's making a movie now with Sam Rockwell and a few other people.
What, he made Garbage Pinocchio recently? Was it?
No, that was Zemeckis.
I mixed them up.
Verbinski's never made a terrible film. He did 3 Pirates. He did this. He did Rango. He did A Cure for Wellness.
Oh, he did Rango as well.
That's his last movie.
Yeah.
The only thing he's made since was I think he might have done something for Quibi. Maybe or maybe not.
Yeah.
No, that was Sam Raimi. I think that I get him mixed up with Sam Raimi. He is going to make a movie now with Sam Rockwell and Haley Lou Richardson that is an original time travel movie or something. Go for it.
Delightful.
I don't love the idea of a Sam Rockwell time travel movie. That sounds annoying, but like,
I love Haley Lou Richardson.
I'll take Sam fucking Verbinski doing something original. At least he's not working with Johnny Depp.
Agreed.
Time for the credits game. I'll be reading Shane the credits of a film starring one of the boys from this Boy Party episode. I'll be reading it from bottom to top according to Letterboxd, starting with the lowest ending.
I'm not going to get
first build. Do you want a year?
Yeah.
2015.
Let's go.
Okay,
it obviously had to be around then. to not rule out Armie Hammer being in it. Yeah.
You're gonna like this one.
Okay.
This is the last person listed on Letterboxd. Jeremy Strong.
Okay.
James Russo. Rory Cochrane. I'm gonna skip a few names now because I don't know any of them. Owen Burke. Erica McDermott. Mark Mahoney. Bill Camp.
Okay.
Corey Stoll.
Okay, let's pause there for a minute.
You're gonna lose your mind at how many cool names are still on.
Okay.
I think we're gonna have to watch this soon because there's so many actors we like in this. It's
Yeah.
insane. I've seen it and it's boring, but a lot of actors we like are in this film.
A lot of actors I like.
Mm-hmm. Like, it just gets better from here. Well,
It sounds like something you haven't seen.
I have though,
Oh, you have.
and the reason, like the fact that I've seen it, and you've never heard me talk about how many cool actors are in it, is testament to how boring it was.
Okay.
One of the all-time boring,
Just
films.
snooze fest.
An absolute snooze fest. Boring director.
Corey Stoll, Bill Camp.
Yeah. Want me to keep going? There's
Go
like
on.
10 names left. Adam Scott.
Ugh.
David Harbour.
Jesus. Okay.
Jesse Plemons. Juno Temple. Peter Sarsgaard.
I know all these people. What the
Benedict
fuck's-
Cumberbatch.
Stop. Okay.
There's still 6 names. 5 names.
This feels like it should be a Western as well, of some sort.
No, it's not a Western.
It's not a Western.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch. Kevin Bacon.
Okay.
Her Web Connects Them All. Dakota Johnson. And then, weirdly, third bill, Julianne Nicholson. Okay.
Okay, I gotta.
Do you want to try anything?
Dakota Johnson. What is she in around then? Sorry, this
50 Shades the same year.
Yeah.
2015. This movie doesn't exist so hard. Like, but also Johnny Depp probably was like,
So this is a Depp film.
yeah, it's a Depp film.
Okay.
The last 2 names are Joel Edgerton, Johnny Depp.
Joel Edgerton.
I think a Johnny Depp Oscar nomination for this was definitely in the realm of possibility that year.
Johnny Depp the lead.
Yep. It is based.
Is this an IP thing?
Nope, but it's based on a true story.
Is it real people? Yeah, it's real people.
Yeah, he plays a famous person, but like a sort of a mid-tier famous notorious person. A name of history that you may
Sorry,
not-
is this like Public Enemies or something?
No, it's not Public Enemies. It's set in the same kind of world.
So 1920s.
No, not the 1920s.
Kind of gangstery.
Gangstery, yeah.
Gangstery.
You want to give up? You might not even have heard of this.
What's the actual time period? Is it like?
I don't know.
Is it modern day or is it
It's
like
an
the
FBI thing in Boston.
It's an FBI.
It's like
thing.
the most Boston movie ever. Johnny Depp does a fucking Boston accent.
Is it about the bombing in Boston?
No, this movie is Black Mass.
Black Mass. Yeah,
And
okay.
He plays Whitey Bulger.
Whitey Bulger.
It's
yeah.
it's an FBI informant movie.
Yes, yeah.
That is a really, really good cast.
I wouldn't have got it, but I'm aware that he played Whitey Bulger in
Like,
the film.
Jesus Christ. Getting down to 11, 12 names in your Adam Scott, Corey Stoll, Bill Camp, Jeremy Strong. I fear we might have to watch it.
Yeah. Oh, no.
No, it's over 2 hours long. I remember
That's fine, we'll watch it.
I remember watching it on like a Sunday night before school in 2016 and like falling asleep. All right. Box office.
Box office. La box officina.
I do have a suggestion. Have you looked at the box office yet?
No.
Okay. Halt it right there, buddy.
I will halt
it
right
right there. Do you remember when we did the Heat and I challenged you on the box office because I was so familiar with the box office of 2013 that it wasn't fun?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is also from the summer of 2013. But I'm realizing now that I did this game, so we're going to have to just do it the normal way.
We can swap, like.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Quiz me on it. Maybe I'll have forgotten some stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But I was
okay.
really into the box office numbers around this time. So I'm going to get this.
You'll rattle these off
I'm going to
easily.
get this. Okay.
All right, number 1. First week.
Despicable Me 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. Something worth saying about The Lone Ranger is that it didn't come out in Ireland for another month.
Okay.
So I didn't even end up seeing it in the cinema, even though I was excited for it. I just wasn't arsed waiting, so I ended up watching a cam rip of it with my dad, and we enjoyed ourselves.
Despicable Me made, I think, 84 million.
Despicable Me 2 was a fucking enormous hit, and no one knew how big a hit it was going to be because the first one hadn't been that, like, it had been a hit, but it hadn't been like that big.
Yeah.
And then the Minions just became so
just everywhere. Infected Facebook.
And then the second one made twice as much money.
Yeah. Number 2.
Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
A disaster. Such a disaster that it was number 2.
Had 30 first week.
You do not want this film to open in second place. Like, it's too expensive for that shit to be
Like, was that an oversight by Disney opening this same weekend?
No, I don't think Despicable Me was the problem. I think the problem was the Lone Ranger was the problem.
The Lone Ranger.
The fact that they made the film and then put it out in the cinema.
Next up.
So next up is going to be something from the end of June. Is it Monsters University?
No.
Is it The Heat?
It's The Heat.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
2 boy parties back to back. Look at that.
2 boy parties back to back. Then we have Monsters University.
Yeah.
Next up.
White House Down.
Nope.
That's we're gonna do that on Boy Party as well. Okay. There's loads in here.
There's more down the list.
Yeah. Oh, I'm aware of the other ones. I don't know. If it's not White House Down, you're gonna give me a clue.
The other one is one we have probably discussed for some reason.
Now You See Me.
No.
This is the end.
No, that's there though somewhere.
Interesting.
This is something. I'm trying to describe this without giving away any of the details because you'll get it immediately.
Trying to find the words to describe this film without being disrespectful.
Yeah.
You give away recently. Oh, is this World War Z?
Yeah.
That's not a boy party, but
no, it's not a boy party.
It is a film we talk about. Yeah.
Yeah.
World War Z.
A film I can't talk about without being disrespectful, unfortunately.
Yes. A film that maybe has a little a touch of the ism, like a touch of the ism. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a way to a cash way to say Zionism.
The World War
Z stands for Zionist. Yeah, that movie was based on a book by Max Brooks, who is a man who likes to go on Bill Maher and defend the Israeli government. Yeah. That's all you need to know.
Yes, the middle act of that film is shot in Jerusalem, and it's just like zombies crawling over the wall.
Max Brooks, the son of Mel Brooks, the most beloved comedy filmmaker of all time. Yeah. All right, so that's there.
Next up, we have a man, Henry Cavill vehicle.
The Man of Steel.
Man of Steel.
Half a good film.
Next up is...
there's a scene in Man of Steel where Russell Crowe rides like a massive space dragon thing?
No.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's interesting.
Pretty sick.
Okay, next up is...
The World's Too Big, Ma. Then Make It Small.
This is unusual that this seemed to get a cinema release, because this is not a film.
Is it a concert film?
Close.
It's not close.
What's not a concert film but also on a stage?
A play.
No.
A musical.
No.
Well, it's not a concert film, but it's also on a stage.
Yeah.
An awards show. Stand up.
Yeah. Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Let me explain.
I remember that being a thing. Yeah.
Yep.
That is interesting. They put a stand-up show out in the cinemas. That doesn't happen very often.
Apparently it grossed like 17 million.
I will say, I think Cineworld in Dublin recently had a Kevin Bridges stand-up show in the cinema.
Okay.
Imagine going to the cinema, sitting down in your seat, buying popcorn to watch a video of Kevin Bridges that you could get on the YouTube. What are you doing with yourself?
I don't know. You're laughing with a crowd. That's part of the appeal.
But there's probably nobody there. It's probably there. You're on your own. It's like us with the guy at Driveway Dolls the other day. You go like, ha ha ha. And the guy at the back just goes,
at Driveway Dolls.
Yeah. It's so funny. All right.
All right.
I assume Now You See Me is in here.
Now You See Me. This is the end. Now You See Me. Star Trek Into Darkness. Fast Furious 6.
Purge.
The Way Back.
Oh, The Way Back.
The Way Back. The Way Back.
Yeah.
This is in its first.
We did that on the credits game recently. Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah. Carell, Rockwell. Oh, sorry. On an episode that has yet to be released.
Okay. Yes, we did. This is where I made you guess.
Yeah.
You give it.
Yeah. Oh God, that was the 2013 as well. Burt Wonderstone. I think I maybe am a little bit too attached to this year.
Yeah.
But it was a good year.
You know every film.
This was the end of cinema. This was the end of movie stars.
Yeah, Iron Man 3 came out and that was kind of it. So.
It kind of feels to me as if 2013 was the last time that there was like a lot of boy parties coming out with big budgets, you know?
The movie star died in 2013.
The movie star died in 2013 because there was like just after the Avengers and you're kind of watching a turning point there.
We wrap it up?
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to our Lone Ranger episode. We hope that you go and illegally torrent all of the Johnny Depp and Armie Hammer films that we might have gotten you excited about because they are not worth paying for. Excited for Johnny Depp to return soon in Fantastic Beasts, the schmungus of Schmiddly Schmung, and
Fantastic Beasts and Un Baguette. Je ne sais quoi.
Fantastic Beasts and How to Take Your Ex-Wife to Court.
No, okay,
that's not funny. It's not funny. It's very serious. And it wasn't a good joke.
No, it was a bad joke.
Black Mass. I'll be next week on Boy Party, of course. It's a Depp Nicholson joint. And we'll see you all very soon for more Boy Party. Enjoy the party. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Get home safe.